Can you maybe quickly describe how Lightdash is using a metric layer and like how the whole system works in the end?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that you maintain these definitions in Lightdash is inside dbt.
Yeah.
So in your dbt projects, where you're writing these models and these transformations, you now start writing small snippets of these metrics. You start defining metrics in there and the dimensions that apply to them, and that just keeps all of the logic in one place. We started Lightdash because Hamza and I were freelancing, and we kind of deployed the gambit of BI tools for different customers, and we kind of fell in love with the semantic layer. It just seemed like it seemed that it scaled well. We have more engineering backgrounds, and so we always leaned more towards, okay, how can I create a great developer experience for this? And the developer experience when we were freelancing had gone through a huge shift. And we'd introduced DevOps, and the idea of DevX became like really important to team velocity and company velocity. But we weren't talking about like data experience. And we found that the semantic layer gave an obvious boost. So this idea of it gave the data team leverage because they could answer so many more questions by maintaining, these metrics rather than maintaining the raw tables. But the dev experience was kind of horrible. And writing these things as code and kind of old clunky UIs didn't feel that technical. And the job of the data team is as technical as software engineering. Having done both, I'm saying they're both equally difficult, but the tooling isn't there for data teams. So we wanted to build a new BI tool against all advice that we received that was focused on a better dev experience for the data team. And it started, I guess, a couple of years ago now. That was as dbt was really picking up, and all the data teams we were talking to were really getting behind the dbt approach, and it just really clicked. Brought some of those software engineering principles to data, and it made sense for people. So to us, it just made so much sense to inject the metrics into dbt.
Yeah, and so maybe quickly explain how you do this, because like some people who already have some dbt background would say, yeah, so dbt just introduced their metrics kind of layer, let's say, 1.5 years almost ago, and then they experimented a little bit over time, and no one really knows where they will end up. But so you basically have two ways how people can define stuff that you can then use in Lightdash to basically then build your analyze and charts on top of it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's more than one way to define the metrics in dbt. But yeah, if you're writing dbt metrics, you can ingest all of those into Lightdash, and of course you get all the benefits. So yeah, you have this new metrics tag, which is available. And the cool thing about that is that they're kind of building an ecosystem of partners that all read from those same metrics. So the idea is that if you write the metrics here, then you could ingest them into a lot of other tools. And you can also use the meta tag, which is where metrics live before dbt metrics existed. And both are valid and kind of interchangeable, which I guess goes to show some of the power of the metrics layer. It's like this idea of defining it in one place and it being able to kind of be consumed in different ways.
Yeah, and the good thing is, I mean, in the end, if you, for example, already have spent some time to come up with some metric configuration based on the dbt kind of way, so you can then basically just already say, okay, I hook this up with Lightdash and can immediately pull all this stuff that I already have in there.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, so many people end up picking up Lightdash because they're like, well, I've written these metrics, but I want to see something. And so they'll take it for a spin and build a dashboard out.
Yes, and so, for example, I still stick with your way to configure the stuff, because like it's closer how I work, and so it's good that you basically have the two possibilities to do it, and so yeah. So
nice.
I guess I would say this is sufficient background to basically